Ken Trahan along with Lenny Van Gilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. The Saints, very active this week, re-signing Travaris Cadet, letting Kyrie Robinson walk, letting Benjamin Watson walk, and, of course, replacing him with Kobe Fleener. And Lenny, on balance, I think these are moves that you can clearly understand. Now, you can couch it either way, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. In the case of Robinson, he got hurt, never fully realized his potential, but Cadet came on and did a nice job at the end of last season. And as for the tight end position, nobody wanted to see Ben Watson go because he's such a class act and he was such a good player last year. But $4 million for 2 years at the age of 36, which he'll be in December, was a tough pill to swallow for the Saints, and they've replaced him with a 27-year-old that's caught over 50 passes in each of his last 3 seasons. So I think they made some pretty solid moves. Yeah.
I think so as well. Now, the one case, if you will, against Fleener is that you've got, maybe $8 to $10 million against the cap at this point. His deal is very cap friendly in 2016. Initially, it's going to get higher as it goes along. Is that money better spent trying to upgrade your defense as opposed to getting another offensive weapon for Drew Brees? Now, granted, you had to replace Watson, and you don't know really what you have at the tight end position.
Oh, I think you know. I think you know what you have. That's why they had to do it.
Or what you don't have, I should say, is, they did re-sign Ho Omananui.
Say that again?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. Josh Hill really coming off a disappointing season. He had seemed to be that guy who they thought might step in, and I think that's a lot why Ben Watson had the year he had last year. I think they thought going in that maybe Josh Hill was going to be that guy last year, and he really didn't become that. So, Fleener, you clearly need somebody to be able to get down the seam and help open things up in that offense. And he can be that guy, no question about it.
And we've seen that throughout the decade-long regime of Drew Brees that tight ends are a big part of his offense, and they're a big part of his attack and a big part of where he goes with the ball. So I don't think there's any doubt that he'll mesh with this guy pretty quickly. So we'll see how that works out. With regard to the Pelicans, they're back in action at Memphis tonight. Then they're at Milwaukee on Saturday night. Ho-hum.
Yeah, guess what? Guess what comes Monday? A trip to Oakland to play the Warriors. That won't be any fun either. Pelicans not back here until next Friday. Wednesday night was just amazing to me. Anthony Davis scores 40. Drew Holiday scores 38. And they still lose. You're just not getting anything else, really.
Well, that's it. Those are the two guys.
And part of it is the fact that they're just depleted by injuries. Mm-hmm. But even the guys who are out there, they started a guy the other night who they just signed to a 10-day contract. It's like, sign your name, okay, boom, you're in the lineup tonight. That was what your name was for. So, that's how depleted this team is right now. I'm really just playing out the string at this point. We'll see where they end up in a month from now.
College basketball, Tulane wins over Central Florida. That's the good news. The bad news is they get Houston now in Orlando Friday night. LSU, Tennessee on Friday. They got walloped by the Volunteers at Knoxville. Could this be the swan song of Ben Simmons? There's a real chance.
Could be, although obviously this is a lot like what happened last year. And Tennessee is kind of this year's Auburn of the SEC tournament, in that they're the 12 seed, won the first game, the one playing game, if you will, then come back and beat the 5 seed in Vanderbilt on a very interesting ending. Vanderbilt thought they had scored the game time basket, replay waved it off. So now they get LSU this afternoon. And yeah, let's see just how this Tiger team responds. Obviously at this point, they've got to win the tournament, just like everybody in Louisiana at this point. No one is getting an at-large bid from the state. LSU's got to win 3 games in 3 days. Tulane's got to win 3 more games in 3 days. You will say this about it. Tulane's probably on the better side of the bracket for them. The other side has Temple, UConn, and Cincinnati. This side of the bracket has Houston, Tulsa, and Memphis. There's no gimmies by any means. Tulane is clearly the least of the 4 teams left on their side of the bracket. But, hey, it's March. Who knows? What was interesting to me is Tulane beat Central Florida, and the Central Florida coach got fired last night. So been a lot of speculation about what may happen at Tulane. We'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, you can read Lenny's story regarding that at SportsNola.com. High school basketball. And then there was just one area team that's made it to the 7 state championship games in Lake Charles, where I was the last 2 games at Burton Coliseum. That would be the Riverside Rebels, 3-time defending state champion in 2A, but they're not the top seed. Madison Prep is the top seed, and Madison Prep survived an overtime thriller against North Caddo, so it will be Riverside and Madison Prep on Saturday. And the story of this tournament has been unbelievable finishes. You've got overtimes, buzzer beaters everywhere. Unfortunately, one that victimized Edna Carr, who lost at the buzzer to Washington Marion in 4A.
Yeah, what we've seen half-court shots. We had a double overtime game with Madison Prep and North Caddo that really was kind of bizarre there at the end. You had North Caddo players leaving the floor before the game was over and such. It was really not a pleasant situation there. But look, it's playoff basketball. It's intense. You're going to see great plays and, heroes step up in situations like this. And kudos to Riverside. It's hard to do what they do year after year after year after year, and they are back in the finals again, looking to get Timmy Bird yet another state championship.
Yep, wish him nothing but the best in that quest. College baseball, LSU and Furman. Tulane, of course, coming off of a tough loss to UNO, and they're at home as well. And speaking of UNO, as mentioned, they've been the story thus far, and they opened conference play against a really good opponent in Sam Houston State, weather permitting.
Right, weather permitting, and stay with us here at Sports Nola. We'll have the latest on what's going on because the weather, of course, across the state has really played havoc with schedules. And you got to feel bad for people in Monroe. They thought they were going to host conference opening series this weekend. They had to send them both on the road. Things are so bad up there. Things are really bad in Natchitoches. Things are really bad in Hammond, as we find out. And let's see what they end up doing. They had already postponed their game for tonight to tomorrow, and I'm playing a doubleheader Sunday. Let's see how that all fares out. And then we've got to obviously monitor the situation in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge. But stay with us here at Sports Nola. We'll have all the latest.
Yep, it's going to be a rough time. And to all of those that view this, we wish you nothing but the best. Our thoughts are with you. Our prayers are with those, even a couple of losses of life that took place up north. And we are thinking about you. Believe me, that's the case. Some of us lost power overnight here in South Louisiana. But we're doing fine, and we're ready to roll. And it's going to be a great weekend. You have a great weekend.
Yeah, it's coming up on, with baseball, hopefully get some games in. It's Selection Sunday coming up. We'll have a lot to talk about come Monday. So, stay with us here.
We look forward to it. That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.